These are the ones I look on with favor, those who are humble and contrite in spirit and who tremble at my word. My friends in Jesus Christ, we were studying Matthew chapter 5. Jesus is teaching his disciples, poor in spirit, those who mourn, those who are meek, and those who hunger for righteousness. These 8 beatitudes, and also that the disciples are the salt and light of the world. We have studied this in the previous classes. Jesus said, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them." The meaning of this verse we have studied in the previous class, that the people used to hear what the Pharisees and Sadducees told them. God gave the laws to the people, but the Pharisees and Sadducees didn't grasp the original meaning of the law. In the Old Testament, people thought the blessings of God were just materialistic blessings. In the Old Testament, people just followed the laws and showed themselves perfect from outside. But in verse 20, Jesus is saying, "For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of heaven." So if we will not study the New Testament correctly, then it means even if we are in the New Testament, we are still living in the Old Testament culture, which means we are just reciting many prayers and satisfying ourselves by going to churches and thinking we are fasting, and will be proud thinking that we are Christians. So we should understand that in New Testament, God's blessings means grace. In the New Testament, it is not the outward ministry, but it is the inward ministry which defines one's life. That is New Testament. So, Jesus is fulfilling the law. Jesus is teaching the original intention of God to the disciples. In our hearts, we have some bad feelings towards others, which is making us impure. So here, in this case, our Lord takes the laws for us. And thus He is teaching us the meaning of the laws. We should understand that in the New Testament, Jesus is telling us about the 2 sins, which can lead us to hell. The Old Testament 5th commandment is our next, verse 21. Verse 21 says, "You have heard that our ancestors were told, 'You must not murder. If you commit murder, you are subject to judgment.' But I say, if you are even angry with someone, you are subject to judgment. If you call someone an idiot, you are in danger of being brought before the court. And if you curse someone, you are in danger of the fires of hell." We know that many times when we were angry with someone, but we didn't react. But when our anger increases within us, from our heart our lips speak. Then we usually say, "He is good for nothing, he is a fool." So what Jesus has said, those who speak such words, those shall be guilty before the court. And when our anger increases, then we say words like, "You fool," or "He is a donkey, he knows nothing." So here we can see such words will lead us to go into the fires of hell. So these are very serious cases before God. So we should not insult anyone, our milkman, newspaper boy, or people around us, or even anyone we know. So that is why Jesus is saying in Matthew chapter 18 verse 10 that, "See that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven." My dear friends, after studying the New Testament, maybe we will have many sins to confess before God. Here Jesus is telling us, wait before telling oneself that one is perfect, that he has never murdered anyone. So we should understand that we should respect everyone. Jesus is telling us this. So this is very important because the word is true. We know that everyone gets angry and there is no one who never gets angry. Did Jesus ever get angry? Yes, 2 times we can see in the gospel when Jesus got angry. First, in Mark chapter 11, verse 11, it is written, Jesus entered Jerusalem and went into the temple courts. He looked around at everything, but since it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. But our anger is not like this. But do you know how Jesus got angry? When he entered the temple courts, he saw the market, and the next day he comes. That we can see in John chapter 2 verse 13. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, Jesus went up to Jerusalem. In the temple courts, he found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. So he made a whip out of cords and drove all from the temple courts, both sheep and cattle. He scattered the coins of the money changers and overturned their tables. To those who sold doves he said, "Get these out of here. Stop turning my Father's house into a market." Here we can see how people are acting against God's will in the temple. And so Jesus took the whip. So we should be angry when our churches will become marketplaces. Then God's children should act. So not to lose God's glory from our churches. My dear parents, if our children are deviating from their paths, then we should scold them to come back to God. Second time, when Jesus got angry, this we can see in Mark chapter 3 verse 1 to 5. It is written, "Another time Jesus went into the synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Some of them were looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, so they watched him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath. Jesus said to the man with the shriveled hand, "Stand up in front of everyone." Then Jesus asked them, "Which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill?" But they remained silent. They didn't say anything because they have nothing to say. In verse 5, Jesus is saying, He looked around at them in anger and deeply distressed at their stubborn hearts, said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was completely restored. Here, why Jesus was deeply distressed? Here, one who had a shriveled hand for years, heaven has a plan to heal him even if it is Sabbath. But here people don't want this man to get healed. So that's why Jesus got angry when the poor was not given justice. So we can get angry when we see people are doing against God's will, or when the poor are not given justice. We know how they insulted Jesus, how they mocked him, calling demons head, Samaritan, and even they tried to beat and kill him. But we can see Jesus never said a word against his attackers. My dear friends, this should be our attitude. When someone will provoke us, then it will lead us to fights and jealous. This is an evil spirit. So if we have something against someone in our heart, then it will lead us to hell. We can't forgive. We can't even adjust. We know there are people who are in fight with each other for years. So if we will have this attitude, we will lose our soul and get into hell. So that's why, before teaching us to control our anger, Jesus has taught us in Matthew chapter 5 verse 5 that to stay calm. It is written in Matthew chapter 5 verse 5, "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." We know from the beginning itself, we are not calm. We have seen how stubborn our children are sometimes, so we have to practice staying calm. And Jesus is saying that blessed are the meek. We can try practicing. We may fail, but if we really want to change our behavior, then we can surely change it. If we are not practicing it, then when we'll get old, our attitude will be the same, and we may be disturbing others. If we are showing we are a perfect believer, going to church and reciting prayers, but what is the use if we are still having the same behavior, even in our old age? We know even if many good deeds we will do, people will remember our mistakes only. So if we are meek, then only people can see our good deeds. So that is why Jesus is saying the meek will inherit the earth. Now in verse 23 it is written, "So if you are presenting a sacrifice at the altar in the temple and you suddenly remember that someone has something against you." Here it is written, "If my brother has something against me." It is not I am having something against my brother, but it is written, "If my brother has something against me." Obviously, we have done something wrong. That is why our brother or sister is not talking to us. So we should repent and make everything right with our brothers. And in verse 24 it is written, "Leave your sacrifice there at the altar. Go and be reconciled to that person. Then come and offer your sacrifice to God." So before offering gift at the altar, we should forgive each other and reconcile our relationship with our brothers. It is tough, but we should practice it. We are God's children. Not just by name we should be a Christian, but through our life we should show everyone how a Christian should live. In John chapter 14 verse 23 it is written, "Anyone who loves me will obey my teaching." In verse 25 it is written, "Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still together on the way, or your adversary may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison." So if anyone is going to file a case against us, then we should settle the matters quickly. In the book of Job, we can see how God put a protection fence around Job's family and possession. But Satan tries to test Job. We should not allow Satan to control our life. In Ephesians chapter 4 verse 26 to 27 it is written, "In your anger do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold." If we are not letting our anger go down before the sunset, then it means we are allowing Satan to control us. In Psalms also it is written, in Psalms chapter 4 verse 4, it is written, "Be angry and do not sin. Meditate within your heart on your bed and be still." We know, but when we see some people's behavior, we automatically react. So in Psalms 4 verse 4, it is teaching us to not to sin when you are angry. So in such situation, we should go to our room, lie down and pray to God and be quiet. This is difficult, but we can do it. Everyone can go to churches and do charity. But changing our behavior, it is difficult. Satan will demotivate us that we can't do it. But we should not listen to him. So God's children should fight with themselves like warriors. So this anger, hatred and stubbornness, these we should really change. In verse 26 it is written, "Truly I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny." We usually think if we have hatred and anger, it is because of others. Then in that case, here God will close His door before us. So even if it is not our mistake, we should take the responsibility that it is our mistake and reconcile our relations and finally close that matter. If someone who has something against us and he is not here with us, then what we can do? We should pray to God that it's not their mistake, it's my mistake, and close that matter. If we will not do like this, we'll be put in prison. What is prison? It means we will get into a trap. This trap is kept by Satan. So if in our heart, if we have something against anyone, then Satan can put a trap. So we should be very careful, as Satan can sprinkle the seed of hatred and stubbornness within us. Jesus is telling us to confess that God, that person is angry with me, and that is due to my mistake. And God, that person is having hatred against me, that is due to my mistake. So we should not tell like it is his mistake, he has filed a case against me. This is not right. That is why Jesus is saying us to quickly settle the matters, because Satan is waiting to deceive us. That is why in verse 26 it is written, "You will not get out until you have paid the last penny." Which means if we will not forgive till the last matter, we cannot come out from this prison. So we should remember our each actions will decide our holiness. In 1 Corinthians chapter 14 verse 1 it is written, "Follow the way of love and eagerly desire gifts of the Spirit, especially prophecy." So going to church, making offering, praying and fasting, what is the goal of everything? Love is our goal. The law's fulfillment is through love, and Jesus brings everything through love. So we will meet in the next class. May God bless all of us.